Good morning, guys, and welcome to another Bloudam in Extreme Fishing news update on what's going on and a couple of tips and tricks. Once again, we are here in Extreme Fishing. If you don't know where the shop are, it's right next to New York with lovely Sugarbird Coffee down in York Street.
Right next to Romans.
Right next to Romans.
Food and coffee is what we need.
Food and coffee, yes. Another lovely coffee sponsored by Sugarbird for this morning episode. Johan, today we're gonna first look what was happening last week. Amazing fishing week last week. The guys,
with all the rain
over the weekend, the fish that the guys caught over the weekend was absolutely spectacular. And then we're also gonna look. This is a question that we get a lot. Beginner fishermen, they all buy the braid and they buy the rods and the reels, but they don't know how to do the knot to get your leader on. So we're gonna be looking at 3 different type of knots. We're gonna start with the easiest knot. Then we're going to go with which is your Albright knot, and then we're going to go a little bit into your FG knot, a little bit more complicated, and then we're going to do the impossible knot, the PR knot.
It's not so impossible.
It is impossible. You'll make it look easy, but you do it a lot for the clients in the shop. He's got this little tool, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Johan, it was a beautiful week. We had a lot of rain, and we even had all the snow in Durban. I know it's not in the garden route, but those guys were trapped for 40 hours inside their cars in some areas there in the Durban, in the KwaZulu-Natal area.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, and they're starting to open the roads a little bit now so that people can get out. The farmers did an amazing job in helping the guys coming in with their tractors and supplying them with food and stuff. So the community always gets together. Whenever there's a kind of a disaster, the community, we saw it with the Nice fires, how the community gets together when there's a little bit of a natural disaster.
Even with the riots, the
with
taxi
the riots,
guys.
with the taxis, the community always eventually comes through for
Always
us.
swear on them and irritated by them, but they actually they come through at the end of the day.
Yeah. So we had a lot of rain last week, Wednesday evening, and all the mouths has been opened up. Wilderness has been opened up again.
Lovely.
Sedgefield is coming down. Nice, not so much fresh rain, but bad news for the guys. Witstrand also a lot of rain in the catch. What do you call it in the area? And Witstrand's coming down again. Braid River's coming down again. So those guys, Witstrand will have to wait for a little bit.
It's bad news, but it's good news in the long run.
It's good news in the long run, yes, definitely. We were there on Wednesday,
yes,
and even the ocean, you can see the brown dirty water in the ocean, and that was before the rain was coming down. So Witstrand's going to be a little bit off for a couple of months still. But interesting, Johan, they are getting good catches of galjoen and cracker in that brown water in Witstrand. There's been a couple of good reports of galjoen. I know the guys from Cape Town has done a couple of Witstrand tours, the last MM fishing, Triple M fishing, Triple M fishing. They've had a couple of good sessions in Witstrand the last couple of weeks, and I see they're advertising another trip that they're going there again. So good catches of galjoen in that brown water. And then our area, reports of yesterday and Saturday and Sunday was absolutely stunning fishing days. There was a bunch of steenies that came out, younger crackers, bigger crackers, and then also galjoen. Dirkie Snyman again. Dirkie's just confirmed we're going to do that talk end of October, just before the season ends, just when the season ends, the galjoen season ends. And guys, we want to emphasize, yes, that's a beautiful word, but we want to put emphasis on catch and release. There was a video that was sent to us about a cob that was caught in Gouritz early, it was Monday or Tuesday last week. That a beautiful cob, almost 30 kilogram cob, was caught in Gouritz. Jurgens, youngster's name was Jurgens, that caught the fish, and they released the fish. And it's so beautiful to see guys putting the fish back, tagging the fish. I know Dirkie is passionate about tagging his galjoen and releasing the galjoen.
Yeah, a cob of 30 kilos. What can you do with it? It's dry, it's tasteless.
If it's a silver cob is also under threat. The stocks are also under threat, but especially your dusky cob that you're catching in the estuaries. Put those fish back. There's a reason it's only 1 that you're allowed to catch. Silver cob is 5 that you're allowed to catch on the deep sea. But guys, let's try and we want our kids to still be able to catch these fish.
Yeah, preserve the big ones and maybe take one that fits in the pan.
And everybody can definitely say how the fishing has worsened over the years.
Yeah.
If you look at all the technology that we've got now, if you look at the Braid, the new rods and reels that we've got, the fish finders that we've got, the boats, the 4 strokes, you can get to spots that you could never get to. You can get more on the water. It's more affordable to get on the water, but the fishing is still getting less and less and less.
Yeah.
So the fishing has definitely gone down over the years. So there must be a big shift. And if you look at all the tournaments nowadays, most of the tournaments are catch and release.
Yeah.
So I love that fact that we are actually putting the fish back. And I've had a couple of interesting discussions over the last year. And a way to explain it very easily is, why do you buy, if you're farming with cattle, why do you buy a new bloodline in, or a big bull? Why do you spend all that money to get that in? You want new blood. But if you keep killing the biggest ones, if you look at a herd of springbok, if you keep killing the biggest ones, the springboks are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And that's what we're actually doing to our fishing stock. We are breeding a smaller and smaller fish, because we keep on taking the biggest ones and the best ones and the strongest ones. We keep on taking those out of the system. So a lesser fish will come into his place, he will start spawning, and that's genes. A friend of mine did a study in Strathspey about yellowtail, and they actually took 10 yellowtails and they determined the age. And between, it was all the same age, exactly the same age, but the weight differed up to 3 kilograms of exactly the same age fish. So that just tells you it's the same as if you take a class in school. If you take a grade 7 class, you've got fat kids, you've got skinny kids, you've got small kids, you've got tall kids. So fish are exactly the same. You've got the specimen of a fish. It doesn't mean that it's an older fish than the previous one, but it's a specimen of a fish. And if you take that fish out, a lesser fish will take that one's place on the reef, and will start reproducing a smaller fish, a skinnier fish, not so long fish. So yeah, guys, really try and look after our fishing stocks. Looking into this week that's coming, good fishing weather. There's going to be a couple of days where it's a little bit of rain, but small seas today at the moment, looking at under a meter swells and surf, and then it's building up into the weekend. You're going into about 2.4 to 2.4. So good idea to start targeting the first part of the week, the guys that's on holiday. First part of the week, a little bit of steinies, carp on the drop shot. Water temperature is still alright. It's starting to cool down a little bit. We had good water temperature, 17, 18 degrees, but it's starting to cool down a little bit again. And then going into the weekend, you can maybe hit a couple of those bigger galjoen, end of the season galjoen, crackers with a bigger ocean, that's with a bigger surf that's coming in.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into those knots, Johan. The first knot that we're going to be doing is the Albright knot. So we've got our normal nylon, and then you're going to use this braid.
Yeah,
let's go with the yellow, so you can see 2 different lines on that, 2 different braids on that.
So what we do is we make a loop like that. Okay, make sure it doesn't get caught and everything. Take your braid.
So that's the nylon, and this ends the braid.
You can do it with braid and braid.
You can do it braid and braid as well. We have done that before.
We just do nylon today. It's a bit easier. You push it through the loop. It's a very thin braid, eh?
It's a very thin braid.
Then you start looping it over, but you loop it back. So what I'll do is I'll pinch the loop on this side. Can't really see it, bro.
No, you can.
You pinch it on the one side and you start twisting it back. 10 times is sufficient enough. Even 8 is enough. I haven't counted yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You can do more if you want
7. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you now why not.
Why not?
Why not to do too much? And there's actually a downfall to doing too much of a knot. And then what you do is you push it from the other side back through again.
Take your tag in through that loop again,
and then
pull tight.
And then you just pull tight. Best thing to do is also make it
wet your line. Always wet your line.
Yes. So that is
definitely the easiest way to do it, and a lot of anglers fish sharks with that knot. Even if they can't do the FG knot, they even fish shark with that knot, or the Albright knot.
So another trick on braid and nylon. Nylon you can always cut short.
Yeah.
Like in short, wink. Braid, always keep it tagging. Braid is soft, supple, so it won't hinder your cast distance when this is going through your guides. But another thing is we don't like taking nylon through the guides, as it does affect your casting distance. But with this knot, this thing is super smooth and thin, but yeah, it is thin braid, the nylons.
Make sure that you wrap it, the braid, like wrap it a couple of times around your hand, or put a cloth in your hand and then pull it nice and tight. That's why he said Aina, that braid can easily cut into your skin.
So that's a nice and easy knot.
Yeah, that's the easiest one.
Another easy knot that we like to use in the shop is the uni to uni.
Uni to uni. It's the same as a figure 8 to figure 8.
Yeah, it's got different names.
But we've discussed this before. It actually finishes exactly the same, a uni to uni or a figure 8 to figure 8.
So what we do is we cross the two lines from each other, make a loop, open the loop pinky, and then just take your braid tag in, push it through.
So your nylon and your braid line is on top of each other, and you loop the line around that.
Just like that, not like
that. Like that, and you loop it around.
Yeah, and you loop it around.
How many loops do you put in there?
I take 8 times, or just count until it looks lovely, and that is enough.
See, there's your 8.
Yeah, there's your 8. Pull it nice and tight. Nylon, always 3 times braid, always 8 times. Nylon 1, 2, 3. There you go. Push it tight, close it up.
With your line.
With your line, and then. So now you guys would understand why COVID was such a disaster for us. We could never wet someone's line, making the knot weaker. So yeah, this is a super thin to a super thick nylon actually, so it doesn't look as beautiful as it should. Again, nylon nice and short, braid nice and tagging.
That is a very nice line, not for any line.
Yeah,
you can use a figure 8 to figure 8 or a uni knot to uni knot for any type of
back in the days when we used to make the bimini, that was also the knot to finish it off with.
Yeah,
so this is the most, in my opinion, everybody has their own opinion, but in my opinion, your uni knot is your easiest, most versatile knot ever, because you use the same knot, 4 hooks, 4 swivels,
and it's actually what do you call it? It's not a knot. What do you call it?
It's not
a knot. But it's not like you weaken the line with that one, because it's basically you're just twisting the lines together.
Yeah, and then where you go, you can go as many times as you want. When you get to the FG, I'm gonna explain why you don't do too much.
I like to do a lot on the FGs.
Yeah, but there's actually.
I like to do about 20 on the FG.
When 15 to 20 is still fine, but there's guys going 30, 35.
Oh no.
So yeah, do you want to do your FG now?
Okay, let's see.
Go with the thicker braid. That braid is a bit thinnish. He has about a 50-40 pound.
Okay, so Johan, if you can put that one on that side and keep tension for me on that one.
So you can't do it without me.
No, you just have to have it in a rod, in a reel or something. Okay, so what I do is, that's my braid. I wrap it around my pinky a couple of times, and that's the line that's going to keep tension. So then I take my nylon, I put it on top of my braid, and then I start working it around. So I go under, and that's the part that I said I go about 20 times. Is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did I get what? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so there you can see the lines wrapped around nicely there. So then what I like to do is take that off. And Johan, this is also something that we've discussed, half hitches.
Yes.
One over and one bottom end.
Yes.
Okay, so it just, and keep that tension on, make sure that's nice and tight there. And then you go, Johan says we must go 1 over 1 under. I just go.
So why we do that is, I had a client in here that he prefers it that way. He wants it that way for make his knots. So what happens if you do it all in the same direction? If it does pull loose, it pulls loose easier and it works into goes along with each other. Where if you go vice versa, the other knot that is in the other direction will still pull tight before loosens.
So then we do about 3 half hitches on there, and then what I like to do is I like to put it tight. I want that line to bite in there now.
Yeah.
So you've got it there.
Yes.
Okay. So there you can see.
Let's see quickly as something before you go.
It started biting in there.
Yeah, but wait, remove your fingers there quickly. Yeah, so if you go too much, you'll see that part. Yours
almost didn't color.
Yeah. So you will see that if you go too much, it's not needed. 15 is more than enough already. But
you can see that bottom one didn't. You don't get the discoloration on that.
Yeah, and what happens is maybe when you get a shark on, it will, but that can also mean a knot failing in the long run.
So what I like to do then is I snip this part off, and then there's a handy trick. I'm not going to do it today.
Snappy.
But what we do normally is you can take a lighter, and that little part that you snipped off, you can just touch the lighter there, and that nylon will mushroom.
Yeah.
And that just prevents this. If this knot does start sliding, it can't slide past that mushroom. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to just nip it off as close as possible, because that already bit into the nylon. The braid is bitten into the line. And I like to finish it with another 3 or 4 half hitches.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to show you the risotto finish quickly. Make sure these half hitches are, because you once said about the half hitches that comes undone. So that's why I like to do that. So the risotto finish, big loop, just a big loop, and then you start taking that 10 times inside there. 3, 4.
Sounds like you're making spaghetti there.
Risotto finish. Okay. So now I've put a big loop and then I'm gonna unwind that again. If you pull that tight, it's gonna make a bundle. So I pinch the end and I start unwinding it again, just to make it nice and neat. And you'll see now the loop is gonna be free then when I unwind it. So you just go the opposite direction with your finish, and this actually stops that uni knots from loosening. That's why we do the risotto finish at the end. So 10 times inside, then you unwind it again. You see now that loop is free, and I've pinched that up there. Now I wet the line. Now I take the other tag end. I still got all those that what I unwinded in my finger. And I pull it tight. There you can see it starts pulling tight. And now you can pull that nice and tight. Okay, so and then once again with the braid, leave a little bit of a tag in there. Yes, that's a 6 knot.
The fish thinks too bites more.
Okay, so there is your FJ knot with the risotto finish. FG knot with the risotto finish. It's a very, very good and a very strong knot that you've got right there. So yeah, that's a nice knot. That's the knot that most of us use when we're fishing braid and nylon. Okay, now we're going to go into the very complicated PR knot.
Nah, it's mainly the same as what you did there. Also, what I actually like to do is braid to braid, not braid to nylon, because of the twisting. I know.
First explain what's that little thing you've got there.
So this is the PR bobbin. You get many different types of PR bobbins. What I like to look at, and this is all things that I've learned through the years by some of the clients, is a thicker pipe, so it doesn't cut your line or shave your line when twisting. And then this doesn't really matter. It's usually tungsten weights on the inside. That's That's why this product is usually quite expensive, is the weights. And
What is the price on these ones? I know they come in different, but
different. This one is nicely priced for $449.
$449.
You get others here by the $700, but it doesn't matter on the price. The price doesn't make it a better unit. Some people just bring it in quite expensively, and then Sensation is also bringing one out that looks quite nice that I like. Yeah. So what we do is we thread the braid through the pipe from the front. Push it through, get it out on the other side. Then you've got these two rubbers there. So what I like to do is I like to push it into those rubbers around. Put it just a bit shorter. Then what we do is we hold it tight and start looping it over that tag end.
How many loops do you need there?
Well, if you're learning the knot, make it quite a few.
Okay.
Because this thing can unwind and hit you in the face. Luckily, it hasn't happened to me. I've got quite big reflexes, but it has happened to a few guys. So,
I know there's a tension that you can set on this thing as well. What is the tension? How do you set the tension?
Tension comes with time. So when you're doing thick braids, 65 to any other braid from 80 to 220, you can have it quite tight. When doing thinner braids, it's usually difficult. 30 pounds, 20 pounds. I don't do 20 pounds. 30 pounds I have done, but you loosen this tension a bit. Because what happens when you start winding it, it runs up, runs down, and then when it's too thin, it starts running back up again. And you don't want that run up back again. So with this, nice tension there, you can loosen it up a bit. So then we've got it winded up. You take your line. You must remember that your line comes through that side. Your other line, tag end, goes the other way.
Okay, so opposite direction.
Opposite direction. What I have is a pen, usually with insulation tape, but I've lost it in the shop. So we can go with this masking tape as well. It's just something to bite the line for you. So I like to wind it up. Grab it on this side. You should have quite a nice grip on this, because you're going to feel as you wind on, it's going to get a bit tighter on your hands. So what we start doing is you keep it like that and you start winding. That's all you do. And then what you do is I usually use my two knees, just pull it away a small bit, pull it back onto the line. So then when I start winding, it goes back the other way. And I'll remove my fingers as I go down, because you'll see that it's nice and tight. And then down that's about a nice length. You can go a bit shorter, nice. You can go a bit longer. When we connect backings to top ends, we like to make it long. If it's a leader, nice and shorter. But in the beginning, play around with it, because this was the hardest part of this whole knot. From there on, it's exactly the same as an FG.
So you can also finish it with half inches and a risotto.
Half inches and risotto. So what you do is you take that off. Just bite that so you can pull that off. And the downside of this knot is you're sitting with a lot of X. So what you can do is you can cut it off. Wink. Cut that off. And then we do the same thing here with that bloemtjies that is the half inch. So you go one side. Then the other side.
Can the clients come in and you give them a tutorial on how to do this?
Anytime. And then the other side, and I usually just go 3 times. Then I go again. The other side. And then just the last one, that side. And as you said, pull it tight. And we have tested this, pulling it tight. Unfortunately, this is now nylon to braid. So if you don't pull this tight, braid to braid, it's usually got like a kink there where it can swivel a lot. But if you take your braids and your you pull it tight. Also, in there,
It needs to bite in.
yeah. Now, you remember I said with the FG, you don't need to make as many loops, but with the PR never, you don't pull this part tight. This is wounded on tight, so you can do quite a few of them against the FG.
Yes, that's a beautiful one. And then you can just finish it with the risotto again.
Yeah, you just finish it again with the half inches on the braid itself. When I
just look at that.
when I do that, Bloem, I usually put the roll and the spool on the floor, and I bring the knot up to me and I step on the braids, scrub it, so your braids won't get damaged in the process. But what it does is that when you're alone, it helps you to keep your lines tight, and you can make that half inches tighter as well. And with the risotto, what we do is we make the uni, make it a bit smaller, and then with the risotto finish, we've got a smaller area you're working with, so it's quite just a quick pull through. And then when you pull that risotto finish through, you can literally take your usually what we like is Chinese pens with German tape. This is Chinese pen, Chinese tape now. So what we do is you can wind it up there, and you can pull that with the pen tight again. Not like it's now. It's ruined.
A handy tip when doing all these knots, you can see that me and Johan both were trying to keep tension on the line. It just makes it a lot easier when you've got tension. So if you're at the beach and you want to do a knot like this, rod nice and tight drag in your pen, in a sand pen, and just keep tension on it, and it makes it a lot easier. When you're at home and you've just got your reel with you, tight drag and put your reel behind something, or let somebody hold your reel for you. It just makes it a lot easier.
Let me just show you a quick alternative to that. When all these knots you have to practice, you can't just come and look at the show and go, oh, that looks quite easy,
and you're gonna do it at the beach,
go practice at home. It took me the FG, it took me hours, and other knots I snapped quickly. This one, it took me a while, and that's just when to know where to keep tension and where not you have to keep the tension. So what we do is we pinch it between our
so you made a big loop now, and you wound it on your pinky, and you open it up
with your forefinger and your thumb. And what you can do is you just wind it. First one, just bite with your teeth, and then you go under teeth, so you go zigzag this side. And
that's basically the same. You get this little tool. Nowadays, you get this little tool that you can use to make the FG knot. It looks like a small bow that you can buy to make the FG knot. So
it's the same.
It's the same principle as what you're doing now.
Yeah, with your fingers, just without it, and it makes it easier because
puts the line in a bow. Now you've got both hands free.
Yes.
Yeah. I still think my method was easier.
I just didn't count now. So then you're sitting with the same finish, and of all these two knots, that is the most difficult part, the FG, and then the PR is the spinning. But what I mostly use PR because the spinning is it's crazy easy when you first snapped it.
But you can also do that with a weight.
Yeah, but then they sit with this long thing,
and you have to swing it.
And you have to push for your face again. And the thing with that is, what I don't like is this thing keeps the tension.
It does.
From the beginning to the end, where with the weight, a lot of us have swinged weights. That thing is first they're gonna maybe go like this, or it's gonna go up and then down.
It's variable tension.
Yes, and you don't want that on a knot. The one thing when making a knot is you don't want to wonder if it's gonna last when you have a fish on.
Yes, definitely.
So like when we went to Robert and everybody's making FG, and now I'm standing there, I don't have my bob, and I'm like, okay, let me just do it. I know how to do it. And it's the quickest way I've ever made an FG. And when I got stuck on that rock, everybody goes like, well, now you know you're not is lasting. Not so bad, eh?
Not so bad. Okay, guys, thank you guys for watching. Coming to the shop, Johan and Kobe is more than welcome. They will definitely show you all the knots that you need to know when you start out fishing. But hopefully you guys learned something. Leave a comment if you guys really enjoyed that. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Cheers.